All right, how are we doing today? Welcome back to the Heads or Tails podcast, brought to you by Meraki Performance. My name's Dan Hunt. Welcome back, guys. It's great to be back. One thing I just do want to say, it's a little interesting as I'm getting going here. I've been getting used to obviously doing this podcast for a little bit now, but seeing a couple screens and speaking into a camera and a microphone and not really having anybody talk back. So we're getting better and better. I hope that you guys are as well, as you're taking a lot of the things that we're giving to you, that we're talking about, topics and strategies and different things, and implementing it into your life, all right? And so we've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of great teams and individuals competing and achieving greatness, both at the high school level and the college level, winning championships, and we just, want to say we are super excited and honored to be a part of their process. And on top of that, just sharing that too, like these are things that help them win and win at a high level. All right. And so our goal with the Heads or Tails podcast is to talk about those specific strategies and, more importantly, unpack the principles behind that to give you an understanding and give you actions or pathways forward of things you can do to get the most out of your athletic performance. Really, whatever performance you're in, right? Whatever you're trying to achieve and do, to be able to bring your best to that, especially when it matters the most. All right. And so today we're really going to dive into one of the things that I believe is a secret behind all of these high achieving teams. Okay. And I think it's extremely relevant for the current time and season that we're in right now. And I want to really be clear that, success, there is no direct formula. Okay. I might have talked about this in previous podcasts, but I know there's like common language of these 3 steps, or do this, and this is like, there's combinations, there's endless combinations to ways that you can be successful. But the thing is that there's principles behind all of this success. There's actually core components or principles behind that you can leverage to your benefit. And that leverage is that combination piece. Like, what is the combination for you? Okay. But the thing is that this thing today that we're going to dive in and talk about is really a principle in core to all of these high achieving individuals and teams. And I know that most people are like, hey man, I don't even care about your success, Dan, like whatever, you do you. But I care about these X, Y, and Z. But the thing is that I've been able to leverage this as well in my life. And I've seen incredible benefits to this. All right. And we're going to walk through this thing. Okay. And the thing that these great individuals and these teams do better than anybody else is they say no. They have the ability to say no. Like cold stop, drop mic, no. They're able to do that. And I think that's incredibly important right now in this season we're in. As we're shooting this podcast right now, we're closing in on the end of the year. All right. And a lot of times conversations around this time of the season, and even around this is like, what more can I do? What more can I get? What more can I give? Like, I need to, all these more, right? The new year's going to come around and everybody's going to have their resolution. Everybody's going to have their list. Everybody's going to get a one word and have all these goals, and they're going to, all these things they're going to achieve and do and all these things. But the thing is that you don't transform through adding more and more, right? There's times where you add more. There's definitely seasons where you add more. But the way to really take a step forward is to remove, is to take away, to actually like remove that thing or to stop doing this thing to create space for that transformation and development to happen. And I know the idea of space, people are like, oh, well, like that's just hard to wrap my head around. Look at it this way, okay? We all have this limited resource of attention or focus. It's limited. There's only so much of it. Right now, I'm grateful you're spending some of your limited resource of attention and focus on this podcast, right? We all have this limited resource. okay? And if we continue to give this limited resource to all these different things, then we don't have space to really give it to the one thing that we think could actually benefit and bring more of our best to something, okay? And the thing is that that's the space. That's the space we're trying to create. By saying no to specific things, we're able to create space to go, this one important thing that I think will actually be leveraged better or help me be even better than what I am now, I am able to bring more focus and attention to, all right? And the other reason why this matters too is that like the things we focus on are actually the things that drive behavior. The things that we give focus to, the things that we bring attention to are actually the things that drive behavior. And I would even draw further with like the idea of character. People talk about character is just this attribute that people have that it's unexplainable and people with character. But if you really break it down, like the person that is hardworking probably thinks about hard work a lot, right? The person that is like a tireless leader and just keeps going is probably thinking about how they can keep leading their people well, right? The person that is disciplined is probably thinking about discipline and how they can create structure and discipline within their life. Does that make sense? Like the person that thinks about being selfless at times is the individual that is constantly looking and thinking about people before themselves. You guys follow me on this? Like it's not that they just had this within them. Like to some degree, is their personalities and thing? Absolutely. That's a part of it, no doubt. But it's what they're giving their focus to that is really driving their behavior and how they show up. That's character, right? And so you might be reflecting right now, or you might have heard or had some feedback that maybe your character's questionable, or maybe you don't have the work ethic, or maybe you're not as detailed or disciplined, or you don't put in the effort that you need to. Like you're not as maybe humble, and I think that all of these can be used to an extreme, but like maybe that's some of the feedback that you've received, okay? And I would ask you to reflect and say, where's your focus and attention? Is your focus and attention always what you can get out of things? Is your focus and attention always what's the easy way out? Is your focus and attention always on your feelings of I'm tired, or I don't want to do this, or this is difficult? Because when your focus is on that, that's what you're saying yes to. You're saying yes to the comfort. You're saying yes to the easy way out. You're saying yes to how can I take and take and take and take, and you're never just giving back. You're never trying to give back. That's what you're saying yes to. And because of that, that's how you show up. That's who you are, all right? And that can be extremely difficult mirror to look into, but I believe that's the mirror you have to look into. You have to stare in that abyss, and you have to look into that and say, is this how I want to show up? And if it's not, what am I going to do about it? And so to go back to my original point, like these phenomenal teams, these elite teams are able to say no. They're able to say no to those things. They're able to say no so they can say yes and create space to say yes to the things that ultimately matter to them. Okay? And there's really 3 points that I want to make with this saying no. All right? And the first thing is that you are going to need to say no to people into specific places. There is, I can guarantee if you're reflecting right now, there's probably somebody right now that pops into your mind that every time you're around them, they suck the life out of you. Every time you're around them, they diminish and they say things that cut you down. Every time you're around them, they're talking about things or trying to do things that aren't aligned with who you are and where you're trying to go. When you're around them, you're not at your best. When you're around them, you're more on defense. When you're around them, you have to change who you are, or you have to explain this or that, or decisions you make, and so on and so forth. Like there is specific people right now that you need to start saying no to. That you need to start saying no to giving your time, to giving your focus, to giving your attention to. There's specific places that you need to start saying no to. You need to stop frequenting because of the people that are there and the activities that are taking place and the things that are going on that are actually experiences that are driving a different story in your mind, right? That are driving, and they're different conversations, right? The place might be, there's specific people in a lunchroom that when you sit down and eat lunch, the only thing that they're not a part of your team, and the only thing that they have to say at lunch is just dogging how you and your team showed up the night before. It's not conversations around, hey man, didn't get the result. We want to get the result. What can we do about this? What about this? Hey, we need to get better here. It's not asking questions of or encouraging you to keep pushing forward or challenging you to reach that next rung on the ladder. It's more of dogging you how you're not there. Right? There is specific people and places you have to start saying no to. People that are outside of your arena, people that are outside of the actual pursuit that you're on and are not an ally to actually helping you get there, right? Some of these people might even be family members. I know that's crazy to think about, but some of them might be a brother or a sister or an aunt or an uncle or a mom and a dad. And I'm not saying no that you can't be around them but like when it comes to your pursuit and what you're doing, you say, no, we're not having the conversation. We're not having the conversation. I'm not giving this folks like, this is not a conversation I'm going to have because it's not productive. It's not even the fact that you're highlighting things that I'm not doing great. Like you're also not helping me get better. You're just diminishing what I'm trying to do. You're not even challenging me, encouraging me, being my ally, saying, hey, here's the next step. Let's do these actions. Let's get in the gym. Let's do this thing. You're just cutting me down, right? People and places that actually diminish how you show up and diminish your performance, all right? And some of these people are actually malicious to the point that they don't want to see you succeed. And you have to look in the mirror and be able to go, okay, man, like, is this the person I want to be? Do I want to say yes to their thoughts and their ideas and how they want me to show up? Or do I need to start saying no to them so I can say yes to me? All right. And some of us might be going, man, that's really selfish. Okay. I just want to say, to some degree, there is a selfishness to this, but it's not a selfishness that you're going to take and take and take and take. It's a selfishness that you're going to put yourself in the best position to be at your best and to fuel your success so that you can be an inspiration and you can help fuel others, okay? There's a big difference. There's like selfishness has a bad rap because we only look at it through the lens of it's taking. But there's a degree of selfishness of saying, hey, I need to put myself first in this scenario or this situation so that I'm at my best, so that I can help you be at your best. All right. There is scenario. There's actually more times than not. That's the better approach. But we get in these situations of what are they going to think? What do you think? What do you think about yourself? What are the things that you want to do? What are the things that you want to achieve? And are you actually taking action and giving your full focus to that? Because if you're not, you're being more loyal to how they want you to show up than how you want you to show up. All right? So that's saying no to people and places. Number 2 is you got to start saying no to specific thoughts, to specific ideas, and specific limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. All right? And some of those things are driven by the people around you, and some of this is going to kind of compound. But you got to start saying no to that thought that pops in your head of, oh man, you just can't do that. You ain't worth that. Or you got to start saying no when adversity hits, that those thoughts pop in your head, and you got to start saying, no, I see you, but that's not helping me show up. I need to get back to focusing on what I need to do, right? There's limiting beliefs that you have about yourself that you need to be able to dive through and be able to say, I'm not giving that any more focus. I'm not going to give that any more attention, right? There's ideas that you have right now that are keeping you from where you want to be into where you want to go that you need to be able to recognize and start eradicating. And And hear me when I say this. This doesn't mean that those things don't pop in your head from time to time. It doesn't mean that the limiting belief at time pops in. It doesn't mean that thought doesn't go into your mind sometimes. You go, oh, shoot, where did that come from? Right? But what this means is that you are able to recognize that and you're able to put your focus and attention onto something else. Because a lot of times we just say, hey, look, we just need to have more ideas. We need to get more thoughts. We need to have the new one word. We need to have new goals. We need to have none of that matters if your primary thoughts and ideas and beliefs are limiting to yourself and your success. All right. So you need to say no to specific thoughts and ideas and limiting beliefs. You need to recognize those. Like, what is that? What are some of those things? You need to identify those things. All right. And then finally, you need to say no to some specific habits and behaviors that are not helping you be at your best, that are not aligned with where you want to go, that are not helping you pursue and run this race down. All right. And I know, like, some of these, I was thinking on my way in, like, what are some of these specific things and habits? Like, one of the things is probably scrolling, like just sitting there and scrolling, staying up late and scrolling. Right? Waiting in line to pay for something at the grocery store or at a store somewhere, a gas station, where as soon as you have a little bit of idle time, you're boom, here. Because what you're doing in those scenarios is, I'm a little bored, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on everybody else. Did they like this? Did they like that? They didn't like that post, so I need to change that so that I show up the way that they want me to show up so I get those likes. Oh, this person was doing that. Oh, I need to start doing that. So now again, you're focused on how does this world want you to show up? All right. People that achieve great things are not worried about how the world wants them to show up. They're worried about how they want to show up in this world. All right. And there's so many habits and behaviors that we just mindlessly like subscribe to and do and follow and just we just do them without even thinking that actually that's based on the world around us and the people and their influences, not how we want to influence that world. All right. And it could be that this is a great habit of, like, you know, just staying up late in general, or every time your phone dings, you pick it up because you need to be in that group text message. You need to text everybody back. You need to be in the loop. Like, start saying no to that. That stuff doesn't matter at the end of the day. That stuff is going to be there whether you pick your phone up in that instance or not. But every time your phone dings, if you are picking it up instantly, right? What you're doing is you're controlled by that phone. You're controlled by those people on the other side of that. You're showing up every single time they just want you to show up. You're giving your focus and attention to the thing that they think is most valuable in that moment, not what you think is most valuable in that moment. All right? And those are some scenarios that you, and some behaviors and habits that you could start saying no to. Like, one of the things, staying up late. Right? Staying up late and watching Netflix, or staying in these group text messages and texting all night, or playing video games, or doing all these different things that don't allow you to bring your best the next day. And people are like, oh man, I don't need to sleep. Like, be real with yourself, because I would guess if you are somebody that is sleeping 5-6 hours a night, you're either showing up to school and your practices and your workouts and all these things tired, right? Not in it, given 25%, right? You probably say tired all the time, and then what? Your thoughts tired, your focus is that you're tired, or you're drinking 5 Celsiuses just to get throughout the day. Like, if that's you got to wake up and say, I need to shift this pattern, because this pattern is not going to get me to where I want to go, right? And maybe you're like, well, I'm still the guy, I'm still the girl, I'm still able to do this and this. Okay, now. But if you have aspirations, like, the person you are now is not going to get you to where you want to go. The person that you continually transform into and you continually develop into is the person that's going to take you there, right? And that's the thing we got to get away from, is like this idea of arriving and like, well, I'm good now. That doesn't mean you're going to be good tomorrow. You have to keep saying, what's the adjustment? What's the change? What's the thing I have to be doing differently to keep showing up again how I want to show up and bringing everything I have, all right? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about maximizing time. Here's the big thing that I've learned in my life. It's not just about maximizing time, all right? It's about maximizing and leveraging your focus. Teams that achieve greatness, teams that achieve the ultimate results, the championships, teams that experience that success, leverage focus. They're not worried about time, because if their focus is on the attention and what's most important, they maximize every bit of time that they have. They're able to tune the people out. They're able to stay in their arena. They're able to have the energy that when the thought comes in their mind, they go, nope, this is what's most important now. This is what I'm going to focus on. This is what I'm going to do about it. They're able to look at the habits and the routines in their life and say, is this producing my best? And if it's not, how do I adjust it, change it? How do I eradicate it? How do I move it? What do I do with it to instill something that helps me be at my best? And those habits and those different things are going to be slightly different for everybody. Again, based on physiology and psychology and different mechanisms with each of us, we're all slightly different, okay? But people and individuals and teams that experience winning at a high level, bringing their best to the things that matter most, are teams that are able to leverage their focus. And that's what No does. No allows you to leverage your focus to the things that absolutely matter to you. And if you want your confidence to increase tenfold, it's through doing this and focusing on the things that matter to you, things that you know are going to help you be at your best. And walking into the arena, no matter who your opponent is, if you have this approach and you know you have given full effort into this, you've won. You can win the first victory in your mind. And that's the biggest piece as you step out into the court. If you have full belief that you are showing up as your best and you have done everything you can to prepare to that moment, you have no reason not to believe that you can get the result. But so often we beat ourselves because consciously or subconsciously, we know we're not showing up as our best. We know we're not showing up as who we want to show up because we've given our focus to all these things that don't matter leading into that competition or leading into that arena. All right? And so you have to start saying no to these diminishing thoughts and these people and these habits and behaviors. And I want to say with these people, it doesn't mean they're bad. It has nothing to do with good or bad. It has everything to do with, are they aligned with where you're trying to go? Are they helping you get there? Are they in the same race? Are they trying to pursue the similar things? And if they are, great, run it down with them. It's great to have people like that. But if they're not, be okay with saying, hey, like, keep doing you, but I'm going to go do me, right? Everybody wants to be uncommon, but yet we keep doing what the common people do and wonder why we're not uncommon. Like, you gotta think that through. You gotta reflect on this. You gotta do something different, all right? And you gotta say no to those things, those diminishing thoughts and habits and behaviors, so that you can say yes to a higher standard. So you can say yes to higher expectations. So you can say yes to your values and your dreams and your goals and the things that you want to achieve. All right? Because when you focus again on time, like, it's going to time's going to fade away. But if you can give yourself specific things to give your attention to and you focus on leveraging that attention, leveraging that focus, all right? That's when you're able to be at your best. That's when you're able to actually make these goals this coming year a primary priority, the number one thing that you can begin to chase down and turn them into a reality, all right? And so my action for you coming out of this is I want you to create a no list. I want you to create a list. I want you to identify the people, the places, the thoughts, ideas, the limiting beliefs, right? The habits in the different behaviors that you have that you need to start saying no to, all right? And when you make this list, don't go, I just need to cut it all out now. right? That's a huge drastic change that's going to be very challenging and very quickly, because it's going to cause so much stress, you're going to revert right back, right? Start circling like, what's the top 3? And like start working towards cutting those out. Do something different, right? Start looking at how does my day shift as I cut these things out? What does that day look like? You know, I like an example for me is most of the time, if you see me out in public, right? You see me speak somewhere, you see me, I'm doing a training with a team, I'm typically wearing black and gray, right? And some people are like, that is so lame, right? Maybe it is. All right. That's fine. That's me. That's my crazy. That's my uncommon. But here's what I found. That helps me be at my best because I don't have to focus on what to wear. That was a habit and a behavior that I identified early on that it was a waste of energy for me. Like figuring out what do I wear? And the whole point of me figuring out what to wear was how do I present myself so people like what I wear? I got to a point where I just don't care. I care about how I show up at my best. And if wearing a black hoodie and joggers most times, or black golf pants with a black t-shirt to go speak somewhere is how I show up at my best, that's what I'm going to do. Because if I don't waste time and energy, if I don't waste focus on picking an outfit out, I can give more focus to being fully present, showing up as me, and giving everything I have to the thing that I'm doing. All right? That's a simple example of one area that I said no to, that I was able to say yes to actually chasing down even more of what I want out of this life and what I can give to this world. All right. So create this no list. Create this no list and start and circle the top 3. Like in the first month, what am I cutting out? And then look at what's the next 3 and start iterating. Okay. And I want to do this because I want to be a resource and continue to be a support for you. Reach out. DM us on our social media at Meraki Perform. DM me directly at Coach D Hunt on any social media. Reach out to us via our website, MerakiPerform.com, and let us know, like, what's your list? What are the things that you're tackling? What are the questions you have? What are the things that you're like, man, I'm struggling to do this. Could you help? We're here to help you. We're here to see you chase your greatness down. That's what brings me the most fulfillment in life, is seeing people unleash and return to who they ultimately are and chase down what they ultimately want in life. All right. And so reach out to us. Let us know, how is this going? What can we do to help? Maybe it's a future topic we can discuss to help equip you to keep chasing this down. But don't stop chasing this down. Keep going. Say no to these things so you can say yes to yourself, because you should be the priority, especially going into this next year. All right. And the last couple of things I'm going to say as we close this out is check us out on social media at Meraki Perform, or check us out on our website, MerakiPerform.com. Link up with us. My personal social at Coach D Hunt. Like, we're here to answer your questions. We're here to be a resource for you. If you find this beneficial and you want us to come work with your team, with you, and like, reach out to us. Let us know. Let's start the conversation. All right. If you want to hear more things like this, we're actually launching a YouTube channel where we're going to be breaking these things down even more. We're going to try to start producing a video a week, breaking a lot of these things down. So more questions that you have and topics that you're wrestling with that we can talk about, physiology and psychology and peak performance and how the mind works and how we can use some principles to leverage in your life to help you be at your best. That's what we're all about here. All right. And so let us know how we can do that for you. And if this has been beneficial, share it with people, right? We want to keep equipping you and your teams to be at their best when it matters the most. All right. So keep chasing it down, keep unleashing, and remember, greatness is within.